crazy how fast this time of year is already gone. It's going to be December before we know it again.
Don't say that.
But yes, hello. To this topic this month is going to be about heart health, whether that's involving your own heart health journey or just getting on the right path for a better heart, or just want to tune in because you want to learn about some cool facts about food. So Veronica and me are going to talk a lot today about like exercising and stuff and foods and herbs and stuff like that. And then we'll give you an amazing Valentine's Day recipe at the very end. So stick around. Veronica, do you want to plug anything before I?
Um, we wanted to focus on the heart this month, obviously, because of Valentine's Day, but this is also a really good time of year to start thinking about the upcoming spring. And we're going to be doing a feature on detoxing for the spring. So to do something like a detox, you can go as hardcore as you want, but if your body's functioning better before you begin, you'll get better results. So strengthen your heart, strengthen your lungs, strengthen your muscles, and then detox in a month. It makes a difference.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm sure we'll do a little disclaimer at the beginning, but obviously, if you are experiencing any of these health issues, please consult with your doctor first. But I'm going to bust up our presentation now. So give me 2 seconds to do that. Okay, my friends. If you have any questions, put them in the chat, and if I don't see them, I'll answer them later. Okay, so here is our disclaimer. Veronica, you can take this away.
So I'm basically just going to read this, but that's because it all contains everything you need to know. We are certified holistic nutritional practitioners, not doctors. We cannot diagnose any conditions or prescribe any medications, and the purpose of these sessions is strictly for information and to help you learn about balancing out your nutrition and your lives through holistic, natural methods. Lindsay and I cannot be held liable for how you choose to interpret the information. Always, always, always talk to your family doctor before trying any new supplements or dramatically changing your diet. Your doctor should be on your healthcare team. Get them up to date and keep them involved in helping you reach your health and wellness goals. They really do have a lot of knowledge that could help you out and keep you safe.
Absolutely. So let's get into some fun topics. Veronica, I'll take the first couple
Sure.
and then you can take the last. So let's talk about heart health. When we think about heart health, we obviously we hear the words like cholesterol, uh, and many other things. So let's just talk about cholesterol for 1 second. Foods that are really good for cholesterol are things like almonds, oatmeal, lentils. They're just a little bit more they're better than the alternatives is what I'm trying to say here. So when we're thinking about when you have a doctor that says like I'm sure we've all like if you have high cholesterol, we all get that like yucky list from the doctor that says like you can only eat certain foods. These are ones that we just really want to highlight. Okay? So focus on those a little bit more if you are having issues with your cholesterol. Obviously it's really important for like any condition to be taking the omegas. We're talking the 3s and 6s. So if you are experiencing like some heart conditions, they always say that the best thing to eat is a fatty fish because of those omegas. It's just better overall for your health. So just consider that when making meat alternatives. And then we'll talk and lots of fruits and vegetables because the amount of fiber that is in these fruits and vegetables are going to uh, just make it easier on I believe it's your like blood flow and stuff like that. But yes. And then of course we're gonna talk about avoiding like the bad salts, the fatty meats, and the fried foods. Those are all in the same category because they're all got the like processed salt that is like the table salt. So please keep in mind when you're avoiding things, avoid bad salts, aka like table salt, fatty meats that have like bigger cuts of fat, and then fried foods because same thing again, it's like drenched in oil and it has lots of those are like the processed foods is what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so go ahead, Veronica, with the last few.
Seeds are one of my favorite tools for boosting your heart health. They're rich in vitamin E. They have tons of healthy fats, lots and lots of fiber, which is really nice. Um, keep your calm, like keep your cool. Stress can be a huge trigger for heart issues. And honestly, just learning to center yourself and kind of release that stress really will bring you benefit in even more areas of your life than just your heart health. Finally, oxygen. There's many breathing techniques for a healthy heart. All you have to do is Google them, or you can ask me or Lindsay. We have Lindsay, we should run a breathing workshop.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we should
I
run a
if you
breathing.
guys ever are on like Instagram or TikTok or whatever, there's a lot of those videos that like just teach you how to do like the square breathing or the anxiety breathing or there's many
Somatic
different forms
breathing.
of breathing. So, pardon?
Somatic breathing.
Somatic breathing. So, if you're ever just like feel like your chest is like tight or anything like that, just look up a breathing exercise that would like help better regulate your chest. I
You
do them
don't
all the time.
really need to look up we all know how to breathe. But if
Yes.
I can give you one bit of advice, breathe from your gut, the bottom of your gut,
Yeah, diaphragmatic
all the way
breathing is what it's
down,
called.
and breathe slow and breathe deep and breathe consistently. It makes
For
such a
sure.
difference.
Makes such a difference. Okay, so let's talk about some vitamins and minerals and supplements. So if you
There
need
was
to
a
take,
question for you, Lindsay, in the
yeah,
chat.
can someone tell me what it is?
Okay.
I can't see it because I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
present.
Since I have a question about the
Yeah,
produce that we get at common grocery stores, most of them have a PLU code starting with 4, which means grown with pesticides. What are your thoughts on this?
pesticides on produce.
Yes.
That the
Um,
number with the 4,000, that just means it's conventionally grown. So it's not organic. There's probably some pesticides sprayed on it. Honestly, it's
no.
not really something we can avoid in today's world. So what I would say is do what we do, or what I was taught to do in nutrition school. When you get that fresh produce, your fruits and vegetables and all that home from the store,
Mhm.
spread it out on your counter, just on some paper towels.
Yeah.
Spray it down with a mixture of white vinegar and water, and then
Mhm.
just let it sit 20 minutes,
Shashank, we if
30
the
minutes.
video for our last segment is up on YouTube, I can share it to you because we talk about like the dirty dozen
Yeah.
and how to clean your produce properly and like which produce to avoid. So whenever Ivan sends tells me that it's up and loaded, I don't know if it is. That's okay. Whenever it is, I'll share it your way to teach you more about like but there's just so much we can't avoid everything, unfortunately. Lots of produce is obviously going to be sprayed because of transportation or because of where their farm is located, stuff like that. But we can try to do like organic as much as possible, or we can try to avoid anything that's on the dirty dozen as much as possible, as they are the irritants. So, but it's a matter of like what is in season, what is being grown locally, and what is being like not heavily processed is my short answer for all that. So, okay, I'm gonna go back to presenting here. Can you guys see my screen again?
Yep.
Okay. So let's talk about vitamins, minerals, and supplements. I got all of this from our awesome textbook that we have for school called the Optimum Nutrition Bible. And these were the top vitamins, mineral supplements for somebody who has experiencing like heart conditions or anything like that. So let's start right at the top. Vitamin E is just good in general for your overall health, your heart health. Okay. That's actually one of the most recommended ones for because I read somewhere that it is as good, almost as good as taking a baby aspirin when it comes to like the like blood thinner aspect, okay? There are lots of studies on that, guys. So just look up like vitamin E for taking it versus aspirin for heart health. Of course, we're talking about bioflavonoids, which is veins. Veronica, what would be like a food that has bioflavonoids in it?
Like when you think bioflavonoids, you typically think like fruits and vegetables and all that. But hang on, let me
Yeah, no worries.
get you a better answer here.
That's okay. Yeah, vitamin C is also obviously really good. I feel like everybody doesn't take enough vitamin C in their life to begin with.
I have an
So
answer.
that one's sorry.
Sorry. I have an answer about bioflavonoids. They're found in the rind of green citrus fruits and in rose hips and black currants.
There you go, guys. Eat more rinds of fruits. Collagen is one that we talk about quite a fair bit actually in school. If you don't know what collagen is, it's like a supplemental powder that you can either get over the counter or you get it in obviously meats. So just keep that in mind when it comes to like your arteries. Everybody, in my opinion, is should be taking calcium, magnesium. Okay. We're all very deficient in that, and I take it like every day. So keep that in mind. Potassium is obviously a good one, but when we think of like potassium, we're thinking like our bananas of the world. We're thinking like those are things that you can definitely eat versus having to take a supplemental form of it. Same thing
A
again, like
great
I
way
said,
to get
omega.
extra collagen.
Pardon? Go, Lance.
I was I was just going to say a great way to get additional collagen is in bone broth when you use the
Yes.
feet of the chicken.
Well, I'm gonna start buying more chicken feet, obviously. Lance, do you drink collagen like take collagen every day or how
I
often?
put collagen in one latte that I do
Okay.
each day.
Okay.
So my wife typically, because her needs are different than mine, as she's been thrown into menopause
Okay.
uh, due to health issues, she takes it 2 to 3 times a day.
Oh, perfect. That sounds
So,
great.
but
I try
I
to
also
do
get in our bone broth, we also put our chicken feet in there. So we get lots of collagen in it.
well, now
Bone
I know
broth
I'm gonna
is
pick up at
amazing.
Nature's on Friday, Veronica.
Sorry?
Okay, thank you, Lance. I appreciate that. Yeah, so back to omega-3 and 6, that's the same thing again. Like I said, when we talk about omega-3 and 6, though, it's absolutely crucial that you get it in a cold pressed form because when you get omega-3 and 6 not, it's basically deteriorating the mineral, I believe the count. It's just when you, if you're looking at a good quality omega-3 and 6, just do your research on cold pressed omega-3s and 6s, or obviously just incorporate more fatty fish into your diet. Vitamin B3 is a great one, especially if you're like low in energy and stuff like that. CoQ10, by the way, is something you can take supplemental, but it's also you're already getting it from the amount of meat and food you're eating. So that one I would definitely just I put them in like the rank of like what is best to like which ones you should be taking more, and then at the bottom would be like things that you could just like talk to your doctor about. But CoQ10 is really good for heart health. 1000%. We talk about that quite a fair bit in school, but like I said, that's something you can definitely incorporate from food. And then lysine, which I'm going to let Veronica talk about this one.
I'm not going to say much about it because most people don't even know what it is, but lysine is an amino acid. It's really beneficial for stroke recovery.
Yeah. So, okay, Veronica, you can do. So, we're going to get right into the foods of what things are really good foods for heart health. Okay. So, let's start off with this one. Veronica, take it away.
Fish is one of my favorite food groups. It's such a healthy source of protein if you get it sourced right. Um, this applies to all your food. Watch where you're getting it from, but things like omega-3s are good for eye health, brain health. It can possibly improve risk factors for heart disease. Omegas reduce inflammation. They may help improve your mental disorders. Some great sources of omega-3s include the cold water fish, so salmon, mackerel, tuna, herring, sardines. They're the fattier fish. Don't be scared of the term fattier fish. These are healthy fats. These are those omega-3s you want.
Mhm.
Nuts and seeds, so walnuts, almonds, flax seeds, sunflower seeds. Hemp hearts are wonderful. They have broad spectrum omegas. So that means it has all the omegas you need and in the right proportions that you need them. And then finally, oils like flaxseed, soybean, avocado oil, like plant-based oils. That's the way to do it.
Okay. Yeah. So, like Veronica said, don't be afraid of the term fatty fish, because like she said, it's the good kinds of fats. But like I said, try to keep it cold water, fatty fish. That's just my only recommendation for that one.
And
So,
my other side note regarding fish like salmon,
mhm.
when you think of salmon, you think of the dark red, the like the vibrant pinks, like those really rich colors.
Yeah.
The more color it has, the more nutrients it has. There's actually studies that show that if you get like a really pale or a whitish colored piece of salmon, it doesn't have nearly the same bang for your nutritional buck as a brightly colored one does.
Yeah. If any of you guys go to Costco and you see the farmed fish versus the wild caught
Oh,
fish,
it's
big
not
color
even the same
difference.
animal.
Yeah. So just consider that when buying your fish as well.
Lance
Okay.
has a question.
Pardon?
Lance has a question.
Lance, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just going to add to what you guys were saying in regards to the omegas. Important thing to note with the omegas is that it's really important actually in mental health. As a therapist, I work with this a lot.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that people, don't get enough of.
Yeah.
And the second thing is if you can't handle, because of fish allergies, the omegas, then instead of getting it in nuts where you're dealing with possible rancid nuts and stuff like that that aren't overly fresh, and a lot of additional calories for nothing, you can go with a seaweed-based omega that is friendly for people that have a fish allergy.
Absolutely.
Lance, can you put what the like a product like that into the chat for people to find it if they need to?
I would have to send that to you after. I actually have
That's
a
okay.
son that
I'll put
uses
it
it
in our
regularly.
Facebook group later
The other
on.
thing you could do if you really want to increase your omega intake is I take as a high dose omega supplement.
Mhm.
It's the brand I use is CanPrev because that's a more professional grade brand. It's just you can choose if you want the effects you want. They have different grades of it, so it's very customizable, and I find it very effective.
Yeah, I agree. CamPrev is one of my favorite companies. I pretty much have as much supplements as possible from CamPrev because they actually care about how they
They do
source
it right.
things. They do it right. Exactly. Okay, let's move on to red foods. And I know that's a very broad aspect, but basically red foods contain compounds that give them antioxidants. So when we think of antioxidants, we're thinking like whenever someone's like having like a UTI, we take like cranberry juice. Whenever somebody is having like just needs a good flush. We'll actually talk about a lot of red foods probably in our detox segment because they're very good at like flushing out toxins. And yeah, they're anti-inflammatory and anti-carcinogenic properties.
Does
So
everyone know what anti-carcinogenic means?
what means?
Anti-carcinogenic. Does everyone know what that
Yeah,
means?
does anybody know what that means? I know what that means, obviously.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Basically,
Anti-carcinogenic?
it means anti-cancer.
Yes. So somebody who is experiencing like high like levels of like platelets, is it, or something like that, can be considering this. But overall, red foods are good for your heart as well. We'll talk about why in a second, but there's also a significant amount of research showing benefits for cardiovascular health and blood sugar support. These and more outstanding perks are credited to 5 main phytonutrients, like lycopene. Is that how you say it?
Lycopene.
Lycopene, I can't even pronounce that one.
Lycopene, alligotannins,
Say all of them.
betalains, astaxanthin, and anthocyanins.
Yeah.
We're saying
Michael,
them
what's your
5 times
question?
fast.
Does it matter if the peppers are red? Do they have to be red, or can they be
Red
other
foods are
colors?
typically best when they're red.
Yeah, they're more
I just know
they've been
you just said
exposed to the sun
peppers
more,
in
obviously,
general.
so that's a lot more vitamin C and D and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, the redder the food, as it says at the bottom here, the more the phytonutrients are present.
Okay.
As an interesting side note regarding red foods, if you look at the energetics of the food, it's the foods themselves, they're very, very grounding. So they're
Yes.
great for this time of year when you just want to like hunker down and stay warm and kind of not really do much because it's still very late winter, early spring. So red foods are great for kind of helping you just like solidify, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, the only reason I ask is because it says red grapes, but then it just says peppers.
Good point.
Yeah, sorry. Now I want to ask you guys, there is an element to when it comes to food that what they look like is what they represent. And if you looked at a beet or a raspberry or a pomegranate or a cherry or a pepper or a tomato, they all look like in the shape of a heart. Okay. So it's an actually good indicator to know that when you see something that's actually why what is it, broccoli is good for your lungs because they look
Sweet potato for the liver, walnuts
yes.
from cauliflower for the brain.
Yeah, but these are
Kidney
all
beans for the
like
kidneys.
when they look like it, they actually benefit that part of the body as well too. So just consider that when going to the grocery store the next time, because when you, like I said, look at tomatoes, pomegranates, raspberries, they look like they're literally in the shape of a heart. So that's a good indicator of like that they will be. And obviously our heart is red, so that's why we wanted to highlight red foods as a category because they are better for overall health and obviously heart health. So consider that when going forward.
But there is
Okay.
one issue with tomatoes.
Pardon?
that you didn't mention. There's an issue with tomatoes that you didn't mention, right? So the vast
Okay.
majority of the tomatoes we get are green and are force ripened along the way to the grocery stores. And because of that, they carry a high level of toxins, which are counterproductive to what you want to achieve when you're trying to eat good fruits and vegetables. And they actually will cause inflammation, not reduce it. And they do not improve overall well-being because of the high level of toxicity, because they maintain almost 75% of their toxic level
Okay.
from
Good
the
to know.
time they're
Thank you,
picked
Lindsay.
green.
Well,
Okay.
this
Thank you,
is very
Lindsay.
true, but that's why I always recommend to grow your own.
Exactly. Vine ripen them or
Do it properly.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, we obviously will try to encourage as much as possible doing things on your own, but if not, then this is why we highlight all of these things too, because I have no idea if you're buying produce from the grocery store or from your backyard or your local farm. And I'm not going to say that all three of those things are, one of those things is probably worse than the other, is what I'm trying to say here. So,
But even if you are eating a like farmed, not quite so stellar healthy tomato, that's still healthier than chocolate bars.
of course.
So,
Okay. So, Veronica, you can do this one.
so everybody loves chocolate. Well, most people love chocolate, but dark chocolate, my mom used to claim is a vegetable. If you think about it, if you get the right kind, it's made from the cocoa bean, so I can see the logic. But chocolate is actually can be quite healthy if you get the right kind. It has typically 11 grams of soluble fiber, 66% of your recommended daily iron, which is a powerhouse for iron, 85% of your recommended daily manganese, and 57% of your daily recommended magnesium. This is per serving. So dark chocolate is a really yummy way to stay healthy. Now, remembering that I'm saying dark chocolate here, there's a difference between dark chocolate, milk chocolate, and white chocolate. White chocolate doesn't even have any cocoa in it. It's just wax and sugar. But milk chocolate is typically pumped full of milk or fillers or other stuff you just don't want. But dark chocolate tends to be more bitter, but it's because it's got less sugar, guys. It doesn't have as much milk added to temper that bitter taste. Incidentally, the bitter flavor is one of the healthiest flavors you can, those different flavors like salty, sweet, sour, bitter. Bitter flavors stimulate your digestive juices, so eating a tiny square of dark chocolate before a meal might make you digest your food better.
It's also
Some
really
benefits
good,
of dark
as
chocolate.
Lance would probably say, for good for mental health as well.
Yep.
They actually, in my program, were saying like eat one square of dark chocolate before you write a test.
Yep. Yep. It will calm you down too. Some benefits of dark chocolate: it's full of antioxidants in the form of flavonoids. It has cold pressed chocolate is the best. I agree.
I agree.
Dark chocolate typically has less sugar than milk chocolate. It's not even typically, it just does. Chocolate is full of theobromine, and there's a little asterisk besides may help lower blood pressure because that results are an individual. Some people have noticed that it has helped lower their blood pressure, but that's combined with other diet and lifestyle factors. So,
And of course, there's many different forms of dark chocolate. Like we got like, I think what's like the highest I've ever seen is like 95% dark chocolate. So yeah, good, which we'll feature a little bit more later. But yeah, if you can, but this is the thing too, guys. I eat one square of dark chocolate. I don't eat
moderation.
the whole bar. If you do eat the whole bar, I'm not going to judge you or in any means. I'm just saying it's better to just eat it in a small dosage. I don't know if I've ever could eat a whole bar because it's just it's a lot of bitterness for your stomach. So yeah, anyways, let's move on to the next one. Okay, let's get on to the fun topic of meat and dairy. Okay. Obviously, when we think about meat and dairy, we want to eat the best quality as possible. We're talking like halal or cage free or grass finished or grass fed. Like, just keep these things in mind when buying meat or dairy. We're obviously in an interesting situation right now with the United States when it comes to dairy. So I would more lean into the direction of using dairy that is from Canadian soil because we actually have better practices than in the United States when it comes to milk and dairy products. So when you get your proteins and dairy from a solid source, also you can enjoy the health benefits without worry. So I don't know about you guys, but my father for like years was buying like what was it, like a quarter cow or like half a cow from a farm, and then they just cut it up and like deliver to him, package it. That is obviously one route you can go down. If you trust your butcher, say at like the local Hamilton Farmers Market, then you could probably find somebody who actually knows where they're sourcing their 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 animals from. But aim for clean proteins that are not farmed at all or minimally. Okay. This is back to what I was saying about the salmon at Costco. Farmed salmon versus wild caught salmon, big difference. Okay. They even say that sometimes when you buy farm salmon, you're not even getting some of the omegas in it because it's been so farmed over time. So yes, like I said,
Even the amount of protein in
yeah,
meat, when you look at farmed versus wild meat, if you get say you have a steak, just like a sirloin steak, it's
Mhm.
probably got 20 to 30 grams of protein per steak. If you look at the exact same size piece of venison or moose or elk, it has 2 or 3 or 4 times as much protein.
yeah. Yeah, so whenever you're thinking about buying better quality meats, just consider buying like when it comes to eggs, consider like cage free or free range. When we're thinking about lean meats, and I want to put like a big note on lean. Okay, we consider that like chicken or beef. Uh, when we're talking about like what Veronica said, venison, mook, and elk are typically have less fat on them if you depending on where you get them from. Liver and organ meats, that's actually considered really good for like iron and stuff like that. So same thing again, not a lot of fat. This is another one we can consider. Greek yogurt. I can't tell you how much I absolutely hate the yogurt industry. Okay? When we consider the lactose-free yogurt, that is like pumped with sugar. When we consider the ones with all the different flavors, that is just like pure sugar, okay? It is not hard to just buy good quality Greek yogurt and then adding whatever you want to it later on. Like you could add honey, you could add nuts, you can add berries for all that matters, okay? But please just consider when buying yogurt, getting Greek, as it is obviously a better quality for you and it has high in calcium and potassium, like we talked about earlier, and then cottage cheese as well. I eat like a quarter cup of cottage cheese almost every morning because of the amount of protein that is in it, okay? So just consider when making alternatives, you don't have to cut out meat or dairy just because of your heart condition, okay? You just have to think a little bit more better. And me and Veronica actually had this topic about eggs. Some doctors will say to you, only eat the egg white
Don't do
because
that.
of it. It does not matter. It really does not. Okay? You would have to eat an excessive amount of eggs for it to affect your cholesterol. Okay? Like that yolk. So please just eat eggs the way you would, but I probably wouldn't recommend like frying it heavily. I'm always like the kind of person who eats eggs poached because it's like made in water versus made in oil. But obviously, if you have a good quality oil at home, then just use it minimally. So yeah, let's move on. Anybody have any questions about meat or dairy?
No, but I was just going to add
Yeah.
to the egg
Yep.
debate.
Yeah, go
So,
ahead.
first of all, dietary cholesterol does not equal blood cholesterol, serum cholesterol. The one and the other aren't linked. That's just a myth that general practitioners like to make you think. But the second piece to that is that when you're cooking, if you're frying your egg, fry it, as you said, either in tallow or ghee.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of good benefits from that.
Yeah.
It doesn't really change it. Poached egg is good in chili, but a fried egg is really good with anything, including a sandwich.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, Lance, because if you fry it in ghee, that's actually also probably better on your heart as well than the traditional margarine butter combo.
Don't use
So,
margarine for anything.
pardon?
Don't use margarine for anything.
Yeah,
No,
margarine is so synthetic. That's a one we should have mentioned today. Do not
yes,
use margarine.
yes, margarine is highly toxic, inflammatory, causes all kinds of issues, and should be avoided like the Black Plague.
Yeah,
But then
especially for
again,
people
so
with
should
heart
most
conditions.
products
Yeah.
out there as far as major brands of produced foods or overly processed foods that are high in sugar,
Yeah.
that are highly And same with dark chocolate, you have to be careful, as you said. A piece is good, but when you start eating whole bars at a time, you're risking heavy metal toxicity, which
Yeah.
is not good.
Yes. Yeah. So if you hear people saying like, oh, dark chocolate has higher levels of mercury in it, it's like, well, obviously eating it fish in excess would have that too. So just eat. It's always about portion control, guys. Maybe we'll talk about that at one point as a topic about like the actual proper proportion size for your plate and like what you're eating. Cause like the thumb is a good guide for fats. Okay. The hand is a good guide for I think it's meats, and then cupping your hand is good for carbs. Okay. So just keep that in mind when portion controlling
The
lots of things.
best saying to remember is everything in moderation, even moderation.
Yes, I agree with that. So thank you, Lance, for your topic on that. So let's move on to high fiber.
Actually, Lindsay,
Yeah,
Lindsay,
Darlene.
what I was going to say is if you can get the chocolate without the caffeine, it's the caffeine that creates the addiction.
Yeah, Veronica, do you remember we talked about what is it? Cocoa. One of the chocolates out there has no caffeine in it. I remember talking about it in school. Now I can't think of it. What's off the top of my
That
head?
I'd love to go. No, because the one that was best
Mhm.
disappeared a number of
If you
years ago.
want a really good replacement for chocolate that it like to put in your baking or in your foods, when you go to Bulk Barn, there's the bin of chocolate chips right next to the bin of cacao nibs. A cacao nib is
Cacao nibs.
basically a piece of the cocoa bean, and it is sugar free.
Yes, I do remember
Tastes like
cocoa
chocolate.
nibs coming up quite a fair bit in school for being not, I feel like it's not high in caffeine. So I'm gonna look more into that for you, Darlene, okay?
Thank
I'll
you.
get back to you. No problem. Um, so let's talk about fiber. Did I
Want
do
me
the
to handle
last
this one?
Yeah, you do this one.
Fiber's my favorite topic. Ask anyone who talks to me about food. Works like a broom and sweeps any and all of the junk out of your digestive tract. Now, there's two types of fiber. There's soluble and insoluble. One of them will form your stools. The other one will push them out. You need both, and you need way more than you think you need. And you're definitely not getting enough. And I can tell you that for sure, because I think the statistics are like 80 or 90% of North Americans don't get enough fiber. But that's because we eat so much processed food, and there's no fiber in processed foods. Great sources of fiber would be like whole fruits, vegetables. Psyllium husk is wonderful. It doesn't taste like anything, adds a little bit of texture, but you'd never notice it if you mix it with other stuff. Whole grains are wonderful. Nuts and seeds are wonderful. Leafy greens, arugula, Swiss chard, other dark leafy greens, very beneficial. Plus, you get all the phytonutrients and other benefits from them being vegetables. And then nuts like almonds, pistachios, other nuts, those are also really good. These all help reduce your cholesterol and your risk of cardiovascular disease.
We should mention that if you are, and yeah, Lance said chai as well. We should mention that whenever you are going to eat nuts and you feel like we just had this talk in school about like washing your nuts basically or soaking them, sorry. Yeah, because it releases a lot of the crap basically that's on them.
Yeah, the processing of most of our foods really does not keep them very clean. So
Yes.
if you get nuts from, doesn't matter where you get them from, but when you get them home, take the nut out of the shell, put it in a bowl of water, add a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and then just let it sit. And then be
It goes up
horrified
better
by
on
what
your
comes out of
stomach
it.
that way too. If you feel like you're having like me where you have indigestion issues, it's most times from nuts and legumes that have a shell around it. So when we think like you know how like almonds have like that brown outer layer, that's considered a shell in the sense. Obviously when we think about I think walnuts, they don't have that like film basically. That's the part that's hard on your stomach is that little film over nuts. So I think sunflower seeds have them too. Anyways, pumpkin seeds. So yeah, just consider that when eating nuts. Okay, going forward. But yes, high fiber is one of the most recommended things to do when you have heart conditions. Okay, so just consider that going forward. Okay, let's get into some herbs. I know that Veronica didn't like this is more your speed if you want to talk about this one actually.
Yeah, this is kind of my jam.
Yeah, go ahead.
So as with anything, using herbs as a regular part of your cooking can provide many health benefits and nutrients, and you might otherwise not be getting as many of these nutrients. So it's really neat to see the yummy places you can get them from. So this month we're focusing on the more heart healthy ones, obviously. like hawthorn berries or cayenne pepper. Now, everyone knows cayenne pepper. Does anyone know the compound in cayenne pepper that gives them their heat? Anyone? So it's a molecule called capsaicin. It's found in all peppers in varying degrees, and just the hotter the pepper, the more there is. And it really, really super heart healthy. Hawthorn berries also is one of the tonic herbs for the heart. A tonic herb is one that's just good for every part of that system. So a tonic herb for the cardiovascular system, like hawthorn berries, is good for your heart, your lungs, your blood vessels, all of it. Something like lemon balm, peppermint, those will help reduce, they can help reduce blood pressure. They also, I read that lemon balm can help steady the rhythm of your heart, but I would need to confirm that. Cinnamon is also very, very healthy for your heart. And garlic's good for just every part of your body, I'm pretty sure, but really heart healthy as well. One interesting note, if you are on blood thinning meds, avoid licorice root. Licorice root does not interact well because it can make them over effective.
Yep. I know. Love licorice. Also to add, if you're like somebody who loves coffee and you're like worried, they say I've learned through my program that adding cinnamon to your coffee, like just even putting it like in when you're making the coffee itself, putting it in with the beans, like it really helps with your heart. Okay. So just consider that whenever you're drinking coffee going forward, or just adding it even into your like coffee at the end or
It's really
something.
yummy too.
Yeah. So that's a really good one. But when it comes to herbs, guys, a lot of these things like peppermint is obviously in tea. Lemon balm is a type of tea. Obviously, garlic is not a type of tea. I feel like my sister would get all over that if that was a thing. But yeah, when it comes to garlic, we're talking like the real garlic. We're not talking synthetic garlic that comes in the little jar that is already pre-minced and put into like tons of,
Desiccated garlic, like
yeah,
no.
we're talking about the good quality garlic that looks purpley and big in the grocery store. If that's what, not the, also not the like tiny little white ones that may or may not have come from overseas.
The
Okay.
interesting thing when you're buying garlic in the grocery store, look for the garlic bulbs that have roots on the bottom still.
Yeah.
That is a really good indicator that they're more healthy.
Yes. Also, guys, the chemical component in garlic is allicin.
Allison.
Allicin, thank you. And that can actually be taken in supplement form as well. If you are not the type of person to just put garlic in all your recipes like me. So just consider that. Okay. Okay, so let's move on. So now we're just going to get off the topic of food for a second, okay? We're just going to talk about lifestyle rules. These are things that play a huge role in how healthy your heart can be. Aim for regular, low impact exercises combined with a rainbow of healthy foods and quality water. So every time we talk about what we talk about food and we talk about herbs and we talk about any change, we should always consider lifestyle changes on top of that as well. Your food is not going to be enough for you to just get by in life, okay? So we have to consider the fact that like adding better quality water to our diet is going to make it 10 times easier for our stomach to process those foods. And then walking actually aids in digestion, so it actually makes your stomach process your foods better as well. So these are the things that we recommend going forward if you are just in general looking to be healthier. So let's talk about walking for more than 10 minutes of a day. I don't care if it's inside your house. I don't care if it's outside your house. I don't care if you have to meet up with your friends at the local mall for like the morning, like the 6 a.m. walking group on a Sunday. I don't know those people, but they're great. And then we're going to come back to like the breathing that we talked about earlier. Diaphragmatic breathing, which if you just look it up, it's just putting like your heart on your chest and breathing from your stomach, not from your chest. Okay? If your stomach is moving up and down, that's good. You're diaphragmatic breathing. So deep, long and slow breaths. Start with your day like this, okay? Just waking up and doing this for like a minute, okay? You'll notice a huge difference when waking up. Quality sleep. So if you are one of those people who has a really hard time sleeping, to consider taking a magnesium supplement at night, okay, right before you go to sleep. I take go
The
ahead.
other thing, sorry, that might be really beneficial to take with that magnesium sometimes is a
Yes.
melatonin supplement.
Yes.
I take one, it's called Natural Calm. It's a powder and you mix it with water and it has magnesium and melatonin and you will just sleep heavy and deep and wonderful and you will wake up feeling so relaxed. And
Yeah.
that is a 100% natural way to get more of those minerals.
I'll post this one later, but I take a you might not be able to see this one, but it's a magnesium sleep. It specifically has magnesium, GABA, and melatonin, like Veronica was saying.
I recognize the can grab bottle.
Yeah, I know, right? This is the best one, guys. I take this right before bed. So consider doing that if you're having a hard time sleeping and such.
The other thing that could work is about an hour before bed, have a handful of almonds, like 8 to 10 almonds.
Yeah, that's good too.
That has all those components as well.
Yes, it does. So consider that as well. Positivity. Be mindful of the people around you. Guys, I
Energy
cannot
is magnetic.
keyword stress, that it will kill you. Okay? That is why we have to be a better positive mindset when it comes to all this. I'm sure Lance can attest to that having a better positivity mindset and people who support around you will just improve your overall quality of life, period. I'm sure there's a mental health connection to all this.
Yeah, there
So,
definitely is.
yeah,
I mean, again, a lot of what you're talking about, sleep is very important for your mental health.
of course.
I don't take anything other than magnesium biglycinate before bed each night. Melatonin's good for some people. It is not effective for a lot, and it doesn't help you get into sleep. It helps you maintain sleep.
Yes.
So there is a difference there. But when it comes to positivity, one of the things that I frequently will tell people is turn off your bloody notifications on your smartphone. It's
Okay.
supposed to be a smartphone. It can live without you. And the thing is, people are attached to it with notifications all the time. Those notifications cause all kinds of stress, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah.
So not being a slave to the notifications and really understanding that society as a whole right now has a negativity bias, which means it's siding with negative information coming through everything from Facebook to Instagram to the news on TV. So as much as you can, trying to curtail that so that you can remain positive and really look at the bright side of things, because there's always a bright side. Doesn't matter what the situation is, you can always find a positive.
Yeah, exactly. And that all ties back into like reducing stress where possible, as much as possible. And then, yeah, self-care, back at it again. So just consider when making these changes into that you consider all of these options, because they're not just good for, like Lance said, like for just heart health, they're going to benefit you all around. Okay. And when your brain is more calmer, so is your heart rate. Like, how many times have you said to yourself, like, you're having like that anxiety in your brain, your heart just goes like this? Okay, guys. So just consider that it's an overall good health practice in the long term. So, okay. So, last thing we're going to talk about is a good recipe for whether it's your loved ones, for yourself. I don't care if you're going to give this to your partner for Valentine's Day. I don't care if you make this for yourself as a snack on the weekend. Okay. But consider making, if you want to consider a really good recipe for chocolate, and you can't escape that, here's a good recipe for everybody to just try. Okay. It's very versatile. So, like we talked about before, get a good quality cup of dark chocolate from, say, like the bulk barn, uh, Veronica was saying, just a teaspoon of coconut oil, which is very beneficial to like all forms of health. So consider that when adding things to your kitchen. And then half a cup of berries. I promoted raspberries and pomegranates and blueberries because they're a little bit healthier on the side of things, but you can pretty much put whatever berry in it. I just don't recommend strawberries because they are on the dirty dozen, people, if you were on last month's topic. So
If you really do want to use strawberries, we're not going to judge you. That's
no,
fine. Just keep it in moderation. There are better options out there.
yeah,
Just aim for like what's going to make you happy at the end of the day, because you need to make your heart happy too. And
course.
it's, after all, the season of Valentine's Day. So if you're going to eat
Yeah.
some strawberries on the one day of the month, we're not going to judge.
Agreed. So the reason I wanted to highlight this recipe is because dark chocolate is obviously rich in flavonoids, which may help lower in blood pressure. So if you feel like you can't escape that chocolate fiend, make this. And if you guys want to take a picture of this right now, or I will obviously post this recipe back into our Facebook group if you're in it. But this is easy, simple and easy. You just basically melt the chocolate, fold the berries, and pour it onto a sheet and just put it in the freezer for at least 2 hours. So, okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. That was our topic for the month of February. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they want to see going into the future? Now is your time. Speak now. Darlene, did you think this was good? If you're there. Darlene. Kristen. Maybe. How about you, Maggie?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely getting. I have to remember to. I love fish. Like I remember to start eating more of it.
Okay.
That's one thing.
When it comes to fish with omega-3s,
Mhm.
1 6-ounce serving of wild caught salmon has 1 whole week's worth of omega-3s.
Mm.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
And that's
note.
just a 6-ounce serving. Like that's a small piece.
Yeah.
Mm. Unfortunately, with the chocolate, I don't really like dark chocolate. I like milk chocolate. I can't help it.
You can have milk chocolate. What I would do if you want to have milk chocolate, have that, but aim for it to have some additional healthy ingredients like almonds in it
Mm.
or like
Yeah.
dried cranberries. That's delicious because then that at least is increasing the health a little bit and
Yeah.
it sort of evens out.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you, Lance. Aqua omega-3, and it's plant-based. So that's good to know if anybody's a vegetarian. Christina, any questions? Did you like this? You're muted.
Yes, I really liked it. It was great. I'm gonna continue coming. Is it the same
Yeah,
link?
it's the first Tuesday of every month. And at the
Okay.
same time. And every month is a different topic, obviously.
Follow our
Oh,
Facebook group.
fantastic.
Our Facebook
Yeah,
group posts what's coming up and some of the recipes and all that. So
yeah, I'll
Lindsay-
share the link to the Facebook group here. Let me just stop sharing and go back to it.
Lindsay,
Yeah.
I was going to say, so my mom, funnily enough, had to jump off quickly for a call from her cardiologist. Weird
Of course.
timing. But yeah, she said, great so far. And I'm definitely going to start adding more cinnamon to my coffee.
There you go.
delicious. It really
What?
is.
Kristen, I buy the pumpkin spice cinnamon and I just put that in and it makes me feel like I'm at Hogwarts. So,
Excellent.
yeah, so that like Miriam got me into it so hard. My friend from school got me into it really hard because she was constantly making me butterbeer. So I was like, I need this spice. So if anybody wants to join our Facebook group, it's free. You just join. We talk about everything that we talked about today and such. Oh, hello again, Darlene.
Sorry about that, honey.
No, it's okay. Did you have a good time today? Did you learn a lot?
I did. I enjoyed it. I really want to bring my old chocolate back,
I
but
know.
you know that.
I know.
It was
Maybe I'll
cold
make you
pressed
some of this
Belgian
bark.
chocolate.
Can I make you
Josiah?
some of this bark for Valentine's Day or just in general for you?
I'd love it.
Darlene,
Okay.
is it called Josiah?
Shosai, and then it became Beyond, and then
Yep.
it went to My Daily Choice, and they discontinued it. And I'm assuming it may have had something to do with pharmaceuticals because
Mhm.
it took one of my loved ones from 34 pills to 11 and a half.
Yep. My mom did Josiah for years.
Did you?
My mom did. I was a student in university at the time. So I'm like, hey, she's giving me these little X power squares because they improve your brain power. And I'm a student and this is great. It was
I use them all through college too.
Yeah. I've had
It
them
actually
before.
took one. It took one of my children who couldn't run one lap around the field without wheezing.
Mhm.
He not only finished, he didn't finish last, and he became a personal trainer.
right on.
And now he's a power line technician.
I love
What more
that.
could you ask for?
Yeah.
No, it was
kept
a
the
great
lactic
product.
acid at bay.
Mhm.
I find if you can make your own chocolate, that's honestly the way to do it. I get the dark chocolate wafers from Bulk Barn and mix them with things like coconut oil for healthy fats, like cinnamon for healthy heart. and just melt it all down and like temper it. So put a metal bowl on top of a saucepan of water and put the chocolate in the bowl and keep stirring.
Yeah.
You should be careful. I might end up kidnapping you.
That's
Mom,
fine.
you did a chocolate making club for years. I think
That's why I was
you know.
thinking of kidnapping.
Okay,
I
so I'll
taught
make it.
4-H.
Okay, sounds good. Michael, what about you? How do you feel today? Less scared of last month's topic? Oh, you muted yourself again.
I'm never scared.
Mhm.
I'm actually a favor of dark chocolate. I
Perfect.
used to buy the Ritter Sport, like
Yes.
bittersweet
Mhm.
chocolates and stuff. Like they're really, really, you have
Yeah.
that flavor in them.
I like Ritter.
So, yeah, I might have to go find those bittersweet Ritter Sports again. And
Oh man, we should have got a like deal with Ritters so we could get like a cutback.
yeah,
We should
like
have done a deal.
buy a
It's never
case
too
of it,
late.
and
Okay.
yeah, then do some berries. I like raspberries, so maybe
There you
one day
go.
if I feel like I'm, not really busy, I might make myself a thing with berries in it.
Dark chocolate
Okay,
with
so
pomegranate seeds,
Michael,
Michael.
are you in our Facebook group? Do you even have Facebook?
I have Facebook. Is there a Facebook group for TGC or is it for this?
It's for this segment, Balance Bites. I just shared it in
No.
the chat, so if you want to join it and then post a picture of your chocolate that you're gonna make, sounds great.
Let's
But
Can
guys,
copy that.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
When you were talking about organic,
Silence.
now one of the things I found over the years, is that if an organic item doesn't have blemishes, then chances are they will do the wind's blowing this way and spray the field beside it.
Yeah.
I've actually known that to happen.
Yeah.
Is there a way of knowing or getting around that?
Go, Veronica.
Gardening in a greenhouse, gardening in your kitchen, just indoor gardening. If you want to avoid, because the winds are going to blow those pesticides absolutely everywhere. And so even if you have an organic field, but it's next to a conventional field, it's going to cross-contaminate. So
Absolutely.
That's why we actually highlighted the Dirty Dozen, because we know that those are going to be the ones that are most sprayed,
yeah.
genetically modified, blah, 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 blah,
Okay.
blah. So,
if you want,
yeah, go ahead.
if you want my solution to the whole pesticide and organic versus inorganic thing, get an arrow garden.
They're discontinued.
Nope, they got bought out. They got restarted.
Oh, don't say that to me.
I got a new one for Christmas, so now I have 2.
Okay, good.
If you want to have
An
really
arrow
pesticide-free things, though,
Darlene, arrow garden is like a hydroponic indoor, like plug in the wall
climate-controlled
kind of
countertop greenhouse.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Michael. I apologize.
yeah,
Thank you.
if you want to have something that's really pesticide-free, you're going to have to not only go in a greenhouse, you have to filter your water because there's pesticides in the water from the rain, and then you're going to have to get some kind of a machine to depesticide your soil because it's in the soil. They find pesticides up in the North Pole. There is no such thing as pesticide-free food. It does not exist. And if you're paying for it in the grocery store, invest your money in something else.
I think that's actually one of the things we talked about in nutrition and the environment. Christine, if you haven't taken that class yet, nutrition and the environment will teach you about like all the pesticides and all the GMOs and stuff like that. I feel like that was one of the ones that Corey did say was like a greenwash. Like what he just said, basically. Because there's certain things like, okay, have you guys noticed that whenever you go to buy a product in the grocery store, it'll say like gluten-free, like vegan, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, when you see something like I just always kind of laugh. It's like you see a bottle of kombucha and it says dairy-free. It's like, well, yeah, because there shouldn't be any dairy.
I saw the best thing the other day. It was a gluten-free shampoo.
Yeah, a gluten-free shampoo.
And I was looking at the bottle like, that sounds yummy. Jeez.
No, that's called greenwashing. So they just use that as marketing to say like you're safe, but it doesn't. Your already common sense knowledge should be like, why would that even be in there to begin with?
You should all go buy a vegan purse.
Vegan is a way of life. It's not necessarily a diet or a way of eating.
No, exactly. So there's certain things that obviously will be greenwashed to make you think that they are healthier when you already know that they are. It is. Okay, bye, Michael. Have a great day.
You
So
too.
yes,
Bye-bye.
anyways, this was a good. I'm glad everybody had a great time. So yeah, next month will be about detoxing. If I look at my calendar correctly, the next one will be on March. Oh, it's exactly in a month again. March the 4th. Okay. So March the 4th, we'll be talking about detoxing and gentle detoxing. So when we're thinking about detoxing, we're thinking about like just eating wholer foods, which we obviously always promote. We're talking about like juicing. We're talking about, and we'll obviously highlight some forms of detoxing that you probably don't know about from Ayurvedic principles and such. But if you feel like there's a conversation that you want to have on here, please always share that in our Facebook group. Please always like share your recipes that you're like that you're making throughout the week. And if you feel like you have a friend that you know would be a really good highlight on this show, please also recommend that. I feel like in March I'm going to try to get my friend who is soon to be graduate of my school, who makes a very gentle detox for children specifically. So I'm going to try to get her to come on the show. And then as the weather warms up, guys, we'll definitely be getting more outside. I believe we talked about doing like a farmer's market walk. We talked about doing a planting your own herb or vegetable in your own garden club sometime in the summer. And then, yeah, if there's, like I said, any topics or anything you want to discuss, just feel free to send me a message or Veronica or just share it in our Facebook group. So I hope you guys all enjoyed today, and I will see you guys next month.